Writers, today we're going to be doing part 2 of our closer look at spelling, punctuation, and grammar. So the focus goal is still the same, to understand that writers reread their work out loud at least 3 times to look for common mechanical errors. We're going to be zooming today in on verb agreement. So verbs are action words, and when you write, your verbs must be consistently in the same verb tense. That means whether they're in the past or the present or the future. They have to be written in the same verb tense. When writing personal narratives, we write in the first person because it's your memory. It's something that you recall happening either an hour ago, yesterday, 3 months ago, or a year ago. So you write it from your own perspective, and we use the pronoun I. I saw, I went, I shivered. We also write it in the past tense. That is a commonly used format for personal narratives. So for example, I shivered, we look at the ending of the word. It's not I will shiver, and it's not I shiver. It's I shivered in the past tense. I dipped my toe in the water. Again, past tense. Here, where she's speaking out loud, where you're recalling any dialogue in your personal narrative, that's going to be written in the present tense because it is dialogue. You're writing about a memory that happened, but the dialogue is in the moment. And then after the dialogue, you go back to the past tense, I said. When writing a literary response or a literary essay, it's a little bit different. You're analyzing a piece of text, so you're writing from outside the text. You're writing from the third person point of view, as if you're kind of like a narrator making a commentary on the text. And in literary essay or literary response, we write in the present tense. For example, in the novel The Color of My Words, by Lynn Joseph, Wash Day is a special day for Anna Rosa. Because it is the only time that Anna Rosa and Mommy can be alone. We often see writers popping back in and out of the present tense to the past tense. So if the question is, why is Wash Day a special day for Anna Rosa? You want to write the whole entire answer to be in the present tense. Okay, here's your challenge. So on the sheet, on the practice worksheet that you have, read through, again, do a very close read of this paragraph, and this time there's 10 errors in verb tense. So you're looking to find every single place that a verb is written in the past tense, and you want to change it and make it be in the present tense. Good luck. I want to talk also a little bit about paragraphing. So a paragraph consists of a group of sentences that focuses on one topic. They should have a topic sentence to tell the reader what the paragraph's going to be about, and a conclusion sentence to tie ideas together or connect to a bigger theme or idea. All new paragraphs are always indented. So I'm commonly seeing that students are forgetting to indent their paragraphs or even to make new paragraphs. So when you're writing a single claim with 2 pieces of evidence that prove your key point, you're going to indent and write a single paragraph because all of the evidence is about the same claim or topic. So in this paragraph about Gwario being brave, the claim is that Gwario is brave. And the first piece of evidence shows that Gwario is being brave. He's holding up the leaflet and slowly tore it in front of Mr. Moreno's face. That's showing that he's being brave. In addition, the second piece of evidence, and there's a transition, another example of his bravery right there. So the second piece of evidence is also all about him being brave, that he won't budge in front of the Guardia who's pointing the gun at him. And then finally, after the writer of this paragraph does their I and their C and their E, the last sentence is a clincher sentence that ties it all up. Like Gwario, often ordinary people can find courage when protecting those they love. So that's tying it into a universal theme. When writing a complex claim, where you are proving 2 different key points, you're going to indent twice and create a topic sentence for each paragraph. So when your claim has two different parts that are very different, you want to make a second paragraph. So we started off just by zooming in on rice ice writing and teaching you the format of the paragraph. But now that we've been analyzing and doing many paragraphs, I think we're ready to take a closer look at our writing and say, where do I need to have a second paragraph? So in this example, whenever there's a question that asks about a character and how they change, you know that you're going to be writing about two very different ideas. One, how the character is in the beginning of the story, and later how the character is at the end of the story. So your evidence, your two pieces of evidence, are going to be very different. They're not related to each other. So in this example, which we originally had in one paragraph, it's more sophisticated to break it up into two paragraphs. At first, Mr. Lacey is cold. So this is answering the question, how does Mr. Lacey change in the story Stray? And here, this writer did this great planning page. At first, Mr. Lacey's cold, and then he had a reference to introduce the evidence, a reference in the story, what's happening in the story to show that he was cold, that he was sitting at the table with his pocket knife, and then the text evidence. And in the end, he is compassionate. So this is the planning page. And these claims can be independent topic sentence ideas. They'll each require separate evidence that's not related. In order to develop both these ideas fully, we really want to create two separate paragraphs that look like this. So here you see all your evidence of rice in the first paragraph, and then you see rice again, but the second R has the second part of the claim. So in the short story of Stray by Cynthia Rylant, Mr. Lacey changes from beginning to end. This is the restate and the initial claim, and now you have to have a mini claim that answers the question. At the beginning of the story, Mr. Lacey is kind of cold. You could say he's cold, he's distant, he's uncaring, he's unfeeling. Any of those would be the mini claim that you're going to prove now with your evidence. And then you can see that this writer introduces the claim, puts the evidence that shows that he's cold, and then he explains and expands on his evidence. Then, in the end of the story, Mr. Lacey changes. So here we have the second part of the claim, but we don't have the answer to the question yet. We need to know, how does he change? We find out that he does care, or he is compassionate, or he is feeling. And then this I, he's getting ready to introduce the evidence to show that Mr. Lacey does care. So he says he takes the dog to the pound, but then he finds out what a horrible place it is, and he doesn't leave the dog there. Also, Mr. Lacey might feel bad for Doris. He has morals, so he brings the dog back home. That's a very sophisticated I. This writer used 3 sentences to introduce this claim. To introduce this evidence. Then the evidence says, you better feed your dog. I figure it's looking for you. Well, the writer here then decided, I think I need a second quote. So he introduced briefly the second quote. He says, when referring to the pound, Mr. Lacey states, I wouldn't leave an ant in that place, so I brought the dog back. So this writer knew that he needed 2 separate quotes to prove the claim. And then now he's going to explain and expand. Deep down, Mr. Lacey really is a caring person, and he loves Doris a lot. He also feels kind of bad for the dog itself too. Mr. Lacey is really a kind, caring person, and he surprises us, which ties into the theme of don't judge a book by its cover. So this writer really, again, did some more sophisticated writing by giving us a last sentence that ties into a theme, a universal theme that we could adapt in our own lives, or it could be applied to any other text. So when you are editing, remember to proofread at least 3 times out loud. Ask yourself, did I double check spelling and typos? Did I double check capital letters, punctuation, and citations? Are they written correctly? Did I double check my verb tense agreement? Am I always consistently in the same verb tense throughout? And did I indent my paragraphs correctly? Be sure to copy down notes in your notebook from both of these videos so that you have good notes and a good checklist to go back to